Joining me on the program now is a member of the response group to the Royal Commission. He's also pastor at Wellington South Baptist Church, Steven Goulstone. Stephen, kia ora, thanks for your time today.
Kia ora, Andrew. Good to be with you.
This is a hugely difficult topic indeed, but important to face up to it. Bad things happen within our churches, and for the Baptist Church to pretend otherwise would be wrong. In terms of the Royal Commission, first of all, were Baptist churches implicated? Were the people that came forth to say, hey, this happened to me within a Baptist church or care facility?
There were 16 people who came forward who were a part of a Baptist church or aligned ministry, yes. We weren't formally included in the report, but 16 is 16 too many.
Yeah, certainly. And hey, there's 16 reported, and that's within a finite period of time. The numbers are likely to be bigger than that.
Yes.
Important to give an apology, but some people would say, why the delay between the report and the apology? What took the Baptists so long to come to what some would say is an obvious conclusion?
Yeah, it's a great question. It needs to be wrestled with in our spaces. The reality for us has been we've needed to get together as local churches, and because each local church is responsible for itself. The Baptist Union isn't technically a denomination.
Yep.
That's been a part of the delay, but the reality was, I think the group that needed to come together, it just took time to get the right people, to ensure that we were getting the right guidance, and to do our best in this terrible situation. It did take too long. I 100% agree. I wouldn't try to pretend otherwise.
What do you hope that the apology will achieve, Stephen? What is the benefit of apologising in this way and doing so now?
I think for me, the apology is an intent for what we are wanting to see going forward. If we just went forward and changed systems and were better in our local spaces, in our regional spaces, and our national spaces, that's good. But we need a moment in time that we are able to be kept accountable to say we have now apologized for this, for the abuse that we are aware of, that we either enabled or were a part of, or in whatever capacity. And now we have a moment where we have said we are sorry and we need to do better. This is it's unacceptable that it happened in any church space, and certainly any of our Baptist church spaces.
What's different now? Because I suppose it's easy, perhaps too easy, to say, oh yeah, this was between 1950 and 1999. That wouldn't happen in a Baptist church today. But Stephen, you and I know that that's not true. That there are still vulnerable young people in our church spaces.
Yep, and we absolutely know it's still going. The Royal Commission did look at a particular period of time. It did accept some reports outside of that time frame, so we even know that as well. But it's what's different now. I think in some cases that we might have some better processes and policies in certain local contexts. But frankly, there is still a lot of work for us to be doing in our local context and in our wider context. So unfortunately, harm is still happening in our spaces, and we need to do everything we can to reduce the risk of that, and also to offer whatever we can in order to redress the harm that has been caused and is being caused in cases. So that's the challenging space that we are sitting in.
Some people would say, well, okay, maybe an apology is a start, but that in itself doesn't cover it. There is talk about reparations. Certainly the government has said, hey, if it happened in state care, there's going to be a policy there. Yes. There's been a general statement broadly on the churches that they've been a little bit slow to the party in terms of talking about compensation, reparations for those who were impacted by abuse. Is this the next stage for the Baptist churches? What's the policy there, Stephen?
One of the key points of this apology is trying to get it as far and wide as we possibly can, so people are aware, so they can approach us within the complaints process to begin a process of reparations, if that is something that we are able to do. It's not going to remove the past, it's not going to fix it, it's not going to make it better, but perhaps going forward for people, that's something that could be a help in a situation that should never have happened.
This is such a difficult topic, and I know for some people, if this has been a part of their story in some way, and this is the nature of child abuse, it's difficult for the adult to move beyond the time that the abuse happens. It's difficult for them to move beyond that psychologically and also spiritually. And I know there'll be people connecting with this conversation who are saying, yeah, I'm a little bit stuck in this place. I'm finding it difficult to move on. I'm finding it difficult to have trusting relationships. I'm finding it impossible to go to church at the moment.
Yeah.
What would you say, Stephen, to somebody who's in that space right now?
I would say that's understandable. You have been betrayed. You have been let down. It has been something that shouldn't have happened. And where you are right now, I believe that God is sitting with you in that space. The church needs to be a safe space, and perhaps it isn't. So that's not a space of guilt for you if you don't feel you can go into those spaces. You shouldn't have been harmed in that way, in any way, in the spaces that you've been in. But God, I don't believe, has ever left you or forsaken you. Yeah. God's love for you is unconditional, and yeah, the betrayal that you have experienced just is horrific.
Of course, the apology for those that were directly affected, particularly for those abused and for the families as well that were impacted by this. But to an extent, there is reputational damage for the church, and I mean the church broadly, church capital C, but also for God, really, that we have not represented a loving God when these sorts of things happen. Now, hey, not pointing the finger, we are broken people in a fallen world, but actually this is part of the consequence when evil happens. Some brokenness in terms of the way people connect in that regard.
Absolutely. We have not lived up to what Jesus has called us to, which is to point all people to the love of God. And that, you're absolutely right. The reputational damage, although it's, for me, it's a concern, but less of a concern around because we have people who have been harmed. But we need to do better as in local spaces and in every level of the church spaces, no matter which tradition we are worshipping from. But certainly from my perspective within my Baptist context, in my local church, we need to do better. We need to be actually presenting Jesus in the ways that Jesus presented himself, at least that we read about in the Gospels.
And I suppose moving forward, that would be the ultimate, to make sure that there are systems, there are checks and balances, there are opportunities for people to have awkward conversations if they're not sure about a situation involving children in particular. Some more robust systems in place, Stephen?
Yes, so I think it was last year, it might have been earlier this year, but we've instituted a new child safety policy that we've had external consultation in. So there's absolutely been some changes happening and that continue to happen. We can't stop. We need to keep working at these things. We need to keep updating those systems. We need to keep learning from where we have failed in the past to ensure we don't repeat these failures again as best we can.
And to do so with humility, with grace, and seeking forgiveness and restoration where possible in this space. Stephen, thank you so much for the work that you do. I appreciate this is a difficult topic, but thank you for taking the time to chat with us today.
My pleasure. Thanks, Andrew.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.